Hi, guys. Welcome to One on One with Orion. I am your host, and we are here today with a very special guest, Miss Charique. I hope I said that right. Charique.
Yes, you did.
We are with Charique. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her business.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Charique Richardson. I'm the founder of Digital Innovation Media Group. And my business we do websites, web design, either it's a brand new website or a redesign, SEO, and social media management. And I've been in business since 2016 full time. I loved it. I've had my time in corporate, but there's nothing like working for yourself and just having that overall autonomy over your time and your work. I'm also a New Orleans. I don't even know how you say that. New Orleans.
Yes.
There we go. So yes, my family moved here last July. My husband's a pastor at Cornerstone United Methodist Church in the East, and so that's what brought us here. And so we've been here going on a year. It's crazy how years gone by so fast, and we're just really happy to be here and to do God's work.
So what's home? What's home for you?
Home for me is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Okay. So we came here by way of North Carolina, though. We were living in North Carolina.
Okay.
But home is where my family is and where I go and where I just really have a whole community there. And
you have had a mixture of all the weathers. Okay. How do you like New Orleans weather so far?
You know what? That's what I was saying. I live in different places. So Florida, I also grew up in Florida, South Florida. So I'm used to this type of weather, the humidity, the heat, everything. So I'll say, okay, well, we're back in Florida just about. Right. My kids have never experienced this before. So this is new for them. But, for me, it's like, okay, I know what to do.
Okay. So you mentioned 3 boys. What's their ages?
So my oldest is 12 and I have 2 9-year-old twins.
Oh my God. 2 9-year-old twins.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah,
you are business entrepreneur. Yeah. You are a wife. You are a mom of 3 Black men in today's society.
Yes.
And you are what's considered, I'm not familiar with the term for the Methodist religion, but you are like a first lady.
Right. So yeah, they call it first lady. Yeah.
They are first ladies. Okay, so you are wearing the umbrella of many.
Yes.
But to me, one of the, not the biggest and not the most important one, but one of the ones that I'm sure requires a lot of your time is being an entrepreneur for yourself, being a business owner, owning a business for yourself. So, so tell me, you told me a little bit about the actual business itself, but tell me what brought you there? What brought you through that? What started that journey and what has brought you through being an entrepreneur, doing what you were doing?
Sure. So I worked in corporate and I was pharmaceutical sales with Pfizer. And most recently I was with Duke. And we moved to North Carolina and that's where my husband went to school and that's where I worked. And dealing with a lot, especially as a mother, being a working mother, that's a challenge within itself. And trying to balance, managing a cancer clinic, 3 small kids was a lot. Not only that, you put in conscious bias. You put in struggles of going from a peer to supervisor that were just overwhelming. Right. And it got to a point where I just felt like I was giving a lot more than I was receiving. And especially when it came to a lot of the marketing work that I did, people were bringing people from other departments to come over to talk to me. And I was just giving away all this stuff. And I'm like, this is marketable. Right. I can be doing this for myself and be able to balance family, church, and everything else. So that was really what led to me deciding to do this full time.
Okay. So doing it full time, doing it for yourself, I guess being considered a small business.
Yes.
What responsibilities do you have? The good thing is you're in this digital world. Everybody needs this digital thing going on right now. Everybody is having to shift and transition to this digital life, something that some people was not ready for and some that people, kind of was on top of it. It's clear that you've been on top. And, so I'm sure your transition was seamless. I'm sure your transition was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
So, but being that you are doing everything, you're running your business, I'm sure you are having to do your books, do your marketing, do your, running your business 100%, solely by yourself. What challenges have you come into, whether it was before or after the pandemic piece? I'm sure, during the pandemic, it hasn't been too many challenges because, like I said, you've been doing this. But what challenges do you think you have come across? Let's say this. Let's point this question out. Before pandemic, when people were afraid of the digital world, when people were afraid of technology, what were your challenges?
So before the pandemic, I did get that. Someone actually said, I don't see how posting pictures on Instagram is going to help make you more money. They couldn't really buy into it until the world shut down. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, the same people who were like, oh, I'll just do it myself. I'll do my own website. I can take my time. Were then calling me like, I need you to do my website. I'm not on Facebook. I don't have any kind of presence.
Yeah, I need it now.
Right. Because their businesses were grown through face-to-face networking, and they were, speaking and doing things. And then when everything shut down, they were left with, what do I do? Mm-hmm. So I would say before it was more of dealing with that, even though I still was working with people, but afterwards, oh my gosh, it was like an influx. So I actually have 2 assistants.
Okay.
2 people who helped me out because I've had to do that. And it's a great problem to have when you're in business, when you have, more business than you alone can handle. And I think I'm a huge proponent for hiring and outsourcing and making sure that you're able to manage the workload, because one person can only do it for so long before you're going to have to reach out for help.
Right.
And that's how I handled it. That's how I handled that challenge.
Are they digital assistants, or do you actually have an office? Do you guys meet up, or you strictly do everything digitally?
Everything is digitally. Okay. My world didn't change. The only thing changed was on a personal level. My kids were home. So I'm balancing not only business, but I'm balancing homework assignments and tests and exams and things like that. So that was a challenge because I'm home all the time, but now everybody's home.
Right.
And so I had to redo my hours. Now I'm on summer hours because I have 3 kids at home. Right. So the good thing is that when you work for yourself, you can be flexible that way. Right. And you can build, your business around your family.
So what would you say, besides working in the corporate world, getting tired of being burned out, or getting tired of giving all your ideas to all of those people that you were doing, what was your driving force to become an entrepreneur and work for yourself? What was your driving force?
Honestly, I was raised in an entrepreneurial family. My grandfather was a serial entrepreneur. He owned a dealership, a car dealership. He had an insurance agency. He sold cars. I mean, he was always doing things. He built homes. He invested. So I grew up seeing this. And so to me, it was just a natural thing that I knew one day I wanted to have my own business, even though I did go the corporate route. Mm-hmm. I knew this was something that I always wanted to do because I've had people around me who had either a side business or a main business.
Okay. So with the competition now, I guess we can say the competition. Right. Now that everybody is doing the digital thing, now that everyone is entrusting in people like yourself, businesses like yourself, what do you now have to do to separate yourself, or to create ideas to be the different person? Like now everybody, even I can even like speak for myself that I was forced into the digital world, meaning now I have taken seminars and courses and stuff like that. So on top of the business experience and the business knowledge that I already had, I took some of the new knowledge and the new stuff that I have learned, and now I am helping people, women mainly, be visual in the digital world and be visual and stuff. But I am not the typical marketer. I am not the digital innovator. I'm not that person. So how do you generate ideas to make sure that you stand out from the rest, make sure that it's evident or it's obvious that this is what I do. This is what I know. This is what I've been doing before you guys were forced into it. You know, like how do you generate your new ideas, and how are you making sure you stand out or be seen versus all of the other social media gurus and stuff like that?
Sure. Well, for me, it's that's the foundation of marketing. That was my major in sports, what my MBA is in, because if you can't separate yourself, then you really are going to fall into the crowd. So the best way I do that is by sharing my story, because my path is different than other people's path, and the way I work is different than other people work. You know, as far as some may just say, here's your website, bye, we're done. Whereas I stick around, I consult you, I work with you, I help you really gain some control over your marketing and help you and work as a partner with you. Because this is what I've done for over 20 years. So I know, to help you with those 4 Ps, people, product, place, and promotion, and really stick with the foundation. People, product, place, and promotion. Those are the 4 Ps of marketing.
Okay.
And that's where I always start, when I work with people. Who are your people? How are you different? If you see my intake form, it's always going to ask, what makes you different than other people? And so I help my clients find it out for themselves, but I also do that myself by sharing my story, sharing my experiences, because that's where people can see, okay, she worked for Pfizer, she sold Viagra, she worked for Duke and she did this and that. So she knows, she has different experiences. And it doesn't matter whether you are in an MLM or if you're in another business, people are going to buy you first before they buy whatever it is you're selling. So I think that's really the foundation of when you're starting business. You need to be able to answer that question first.
Okay. I like that, girl. So I'm gonna have to. We're gonna on outside of this interview, outside of this conversation, we're gonna have to talk about the 4 Ps. I like that one. Yeah. So, how did you find yourself? Either before or after the pandemic, how did you find yourself, or how did you build your customer base? Like, how did you really get out there and get customers, considering so many people felt like they didn't need you. They didn't need somebody to manage their social media and stuff. So how did you build them? How did you get them? How did you finally win them over and start building your customer base?
Well, before the pandemic, I was networking like crazy. I was, I joined several professional organizations, and I was putting my name out there. So when the pandemic happened, I switched immediately to virtual. I had the We Are Connected organization. We were meeting over at Lakeside, and we had to just make a pivot, because I think in business, if you're going to be successful, you got to learn how to make those pivots and do it quickly. So that way you can be seen as, an expert, a pioneer when, things happen, because things are always going to happen.
Right.
And so already being online on Zoom, I was already on Zoom every week anyway. So it was just a matter of just switching it over. And making myself available and networking with people I didn't know from a can of paint, but doing it through Zoom, setting up meetings. If you meet somebody, just say, hey, can we have a coffee? Virtual coffee even. I've been doing those for years. And I think that's important, because we may not have time to go drive to PJ's, but we can still sit down and have a 15, 30-minute discussion and really get to know a lot about each other. So that was really what helped me grow my client base. Part of a mastermind as well of women. And when we share about each other, the light bulb goes off and says, hey, I can use you. And that's how people really reached out to me, because they're hearing more and more about what I do. So when this happened, they were like, oh, we got to call Charique, but if I had not been doing this before, they would have never known.
I'm sorry. It's so funny to hear, not here, but it's so funny to think about the digital world now, because now, like, I have a sister who's been in Atlanta for, I think, like 7 years now. And I used to cry when I wasn't able to just go meet her at the coffee shop or go have dinner and stuff like that. And you just mentioned you've been having virtual coffee with people for years. And it was suggested to us 6 years ago, just have a Skype conversation with your sister. And I was like, no, that's not real. I don't want to do that. And now we're having Zoom conversations or FaceTime conversations every single day. And But 7 years ago, I couldn't imagine that. And it wasn't real to me. But now I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. So it's just so funny how the world works, and it just, comes around and show you that there's a way. And digital is not horrible. And it's not necessarily, I don't think it's the digital thing that frightens people. I think it's the technology.
Yeah, if you're not used to it.
This phone, the network, the internet going out, I think that whole piece is what scares people.
Right. And I've seen that too in my clients, where it's like, I know Facebook, I don't like it. I don't know what to do with it, or even Zoom, even. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. You see them on the Zoom call, they're trying to what button or push, that kind of thing. But I look at it here, it's something you didn't know, a month ago.
Right.
Here's something new that now you can use moving forward. Don't wait for the next pandemic, or God forbid, I don't want to speak that into existence, but whatever. Don't wait for that. Now you have a new skill that you can use, for that. So yeah.
Right. So you mentioned, we talked about your customers and stuff. What is the average lifespan of a client of yours? Like, if I hire Charique, I want her to come in and take over my social media, I need her to manage my website and stuff like that. What is the average lifespan of an actual client, you doing what it is that you need to do to transform their website, their social media, whatever? How long do you usually keep them? Or do you have clients that you've been having for 10, 20 years?
Well, it depends on the service. So actually, when I do websites for someone, I never really leave them. Like for instance, I have an organization I did their website for. They already told me, we're not going to touch this thing. This is like yours. And I've had clients too who are like, we're not doing anything with this. So when they hire me, we already know that we're going to be working together, for years. So and that's how it's been, because
you're making sure that their business is moving with what's going on. With the
exactly, because they're not techie. They're busy. They're either in legal, they're in mortgage, or those fast-paced industries where they just don't have time to sit down and make the regular updates. So they say, hey, shoot me an email. I got it. They put me on retainer, and that's typically how we do that.
Okay.
Social month to month, and so that's every month. But even if it's just a website, it doesn't end when the website goes live. Because, like I said, they don't know what they're doing, and they're afraid they're going to push a button and delete the whole thing. So they're like, take it.
The whole thing. Right.
So always mine.
When you say your business and keeping your clients and stuff like that, and being an entrepreneur, I know that it is hard to turn off and turn on, or to work and not to work. And considering that you just said, I heard the words come out of your mouth, that you work with them forever and you're theirs and they're yours and stuff like that. So what is a day like for Charique? Like, do you cut it off? Do you say, I'm not reachable after 5 o'clock? Or if someone calls you at 10 o'clock at night and say, my website just crashed, what do I do? Like, what's your typical day being a marketer, being a digital person, and every day, every 5 minutes, something happens to somebody's stuff in that technology world, which is why some of us are scared of it. So, when do you turn it off? When are you mom? When are you first lady? When are you wife? When are you all of those things if you are a person that's over somebody's website and social media?
So my days are always different. They're never the same, but I have this standard things that I do. I have my scripture reading, my meditation, my prayer. I always do that. I try to do exercise. I do find time to either, take my kids out, we go for, go walking, that kind of thing. I keep a running to-do list. So I have that up in my browser so I can check off what needs to be done. And that helps me track my projects. And I also use other software too that helps me track my projects and different clients. But it's mainly been, I say 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But honestly, I'm not going to tell someone if they're calling me on a Saturday, hey, wait till Monday. Because especially if it's, I mean, whatever it's website or social, if I'm with you and this website I know is representing your business and is crashing, waiting 2 days could cost God knows how much money.
Right.
So I have
That's not what we pay you
a very,
for.
exactly. So even though I say 9 to 5, I have definitely worked with clients after hours. I try to make it a habit because I do have to create balance for my family and for my children. But at the same time, I do take it very seriously. And my clients will tell you I'm very accessible. We do Slack, we do email, text, call, what have you. Heck, some of them do Facebook Messenger. I mean, it's really whatever way that they're more comfortable reaching me, since some of them are not as techy, so they mostly will send me a text.
Right.
But yeah, no, I balance it out. You know, like I said, no 2 days are the same, but I like it that way.
And I was about to say that is the wonderful plus about being an entrepreneur. You make your own schedule. You do it when you want to. You do it when you don't want to sometimes. So that's always wonderful with being an entrepreneur. What would you say, if you have one, or do you say that there is a business formula to being successful? Like, do you think that there is an actual formula? I want to be an entrepreneur, and I was told to do A plus B plus C, and I'm going to get my business. Like, is there a formula? Or do you think that, you know, or are you one of those people that strictly believes in trial and error? I'm going to go in here, I'm going to do it. If I mess up, I'm going to try it again. Like, you know, what's your formula? Or what do you think?
So I would say, like, faith. You got to have faith, because everything is a faith walk. You don't know if it's going to work. And if you sit around and wait for something to happen and or lightning to strike you, it's not going to happen. So you have to do everything in faith and just trust God. And that's really been my secret to success. That plus just being determined. Like, I'm determined this is going to happen. This is going to win. I'm, you know, whatever. If this person says no, someone else say yes. You just got to keep going, keep going and keep moving. You got to take risk. Like I mentioned before, everything is a risk. Hiring someone is a risk, but because the risk is they cannot work out, make you look bad. But you have to continue to, take those risks and take those leaps, because that's how you grow. And that's how you learn more about yourself.
Right.
And you learn more ways and better ways to run your business. And to me, that's definitely the key to success, but starts with faith. Because it's scary. There's a lot of, things we go through. The mindset can tell you a lot of things, but you can't do this, and you overthink it, and then you end up not doing anything in years past. But I think those things are important. Faith, determination, risk-taking are very important.
This next question, I feel like I want to ask this question, but I feel like I shouldn't even have to ask this question, because I'm sure, like when the pandemic happened, and the governor came on the TV and said, everybody stay put, you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere. I am sure 95% of the businesses were in fear.
Yeah.
We were like, what's going to happen? Where's my business going? What am I going to do? My business has pretty much, we're probably just going to go to the bottom. I'm sure that was a fear.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, yours was probably like, yay, technology. Like you were, so you probably didn't have a fear, but maybe at some point in the beginning of becoming an entrepreneur, you did. So my question will be a little different from you. If you had a fear, or if there was a fear becoming an entrepreneur, how did you overcome it? What did you do to get past that fear and to just really stick to your business and being an entrepreneur?
Sure. Well, I mentioned it before, mindset. That was the biggest thing, the imposter syndrome. It's different when you're working for someone else, but when you're working for yourself, it's like all about you. And so you want to make sure you do everything perfectly. You want to make sure that everyone is happy. And of course, the fear is if you make a mistake or something happens. But, the way you get over that is if you look at it and think about it, okay, if I'm failing, you fail fast. And you learn from that, and you continue to get better and build upon that. And that's what builds confidence. If you're doing something that you're not that familiar with, I would definitely recommend you get a coach, get someone to help train you and make that investment, because I think it's worth it. because that person can really help you and work with you and show you how you can pull out your best skills to help other people to have a problem that you can solve.
Right.
And that's what I did. I got into a coaching program, and that really helped me because there's so much that you have to think about when you're running a business because you're wearing every hat in the beginning. You don't have an assistant.
Correct.
You don't have all these people. And having someone who's 2 steps ahead of you to show you, okay, this is what's going to happen, so be ready for it. Mm-hmm. That really helped me. I still dealt with the mindset, and that's something that I just really have to, you got to work on that, whether it's reading books or meditations, affirmations, prayer, whatever it takes to get past that. Because once you get past that point, you'll find that you can really do it. You'll find you have more confidence. Mm-hmm. But doing it with someone to guide you definitely helps make it a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm. What has been your most satisfying moment of your business? What's a goal that you set, you hit it, and you felt like you had conquered the world? Like, you were happy to call yourself an entrepreneur. What give us one of those moments. We might have a beginner entrepreneur that's trying to figure out what is going to make them feel successful. What was that satisfying moment for you?
I mean, the most satisfying thing for me always is happy clients. That first testimonial that you get when someone tells you how much you help them and how much your, whatever it is, product or service did, that was the biggest thing for me. Because you're always, racking your brain. Am I doing a good job? Am I doing a good job? And when you get that back, there's nothing like it in the world. Even now, I'm like, I love it. So that is the biggest thing for me. As long as my clients are happy, I'm happy.
It's all about, satisfaction. Mm-hmm. What piece of advice would you give to a recent graduate that wants to be an entrepreneur?
Sure.
Especially, let's say, a recent graduate now that feels like, I started to do this business, but the pandemic came and I couldn't do anything. So now I don't even think I'm gonna do it anymore. Like, I don't have time to wait. I'm going to work for Mr. Bob or whatever. What advice would you give to that incoming, just recent graduate that wants to be an entrepreneur, but just don't know which way to go, which way to turn, or what to do first?
The biggest thing I would say is, number one, work on your why. Why are you doing this? And find out, okay, why am I doing this? And who do I really want to work with? And how do I want to help people? What problems I really want to solve? And just be consistent with it, because it's easy to quit when things get hard. But staying with it, you may not see the results right then and there, but if you stay consistent with it, you will begin to materialize later on. Right. So I would definitely say don't quit so easy. Don't compare yourself to other people. I did that, and that will paralyze you. Yeah. That will, if you look over at everybody else who's successful, you'll begin to think, why not me? And you'll down yourself. So just kind of have
give up.
Exactly. You'll just have that tunnel vision where you're like, okay, I'm not looking over there. God, you got me where you want me to be. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to invest. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you can't afford a coach, somebody that you may know in business. It can be, someone that locally who just has a successful business, and ask if you can take them to lunch once a week or something like that. It can be something just that simple. Your family is not your ideal client, so don't be upset if your family is not supporting you and they're not buying from you. 9 times out of 10, they're not your client anyway. Mm-hmm. So don't let that discourage you, and just realize that you may have to change your circle a little bit. If you need people around you, it's going to be encouraging. People who are going to, not force you, but just encourage you not to quit and encourage you.
Yeah.
And so I definitely exactly check your circle and just have somebody that you can work with.
Yes.
And I think if you do those things, you'll be successful.
Okay. So that's part of your formula too. Just,
yeah.
that's part of our formula of being a successful entrepreneur. We talked about this, and you didn't have to make many changes, but if there was one thing that you had to change or do differently with the pandemic going on, what was that one thing? What one thing that you felt you had to do differently?
Something that I felt I had to do differently because of the pandemic. Good question. Um, because most of what I did, I think if I would have probably started a little sooner, as soon as it hit, because when March came, it was like, ooh. So I really didn't get right back into networking until I would say early April. And I could have just came and I really feel like I should have pivoted a little earlier.
A little early.
The kids were home and they had their schoolwork, that kind of thing. So they were, busy doing that. And for a minute there, I was just kind of like, okay, where am I? What's going on? You almost feel like you're like in a black hole. Like, what's going on here?
Right. Everybody's doing something but you. You're sitting there like,
right.
Where do I go? What's going on?
Exactly. And so just reaching out to people kind of brought me back into, civilization and helped me to really, see that, okay, the world didn't stop. Things kind of paused, whatever, but you got to keep going. Mm-hmm. And that really helped me. So I would say, just getting back out there sooner.
What key things would you recommend to an entrepreneur to be investing in right now while we're pausing, or, some may say stopping, some may say pausing. But while we're in whatever it is that we're in, what key thing would you recommend for entrepreneurs to be doing, to be investing in? Is it, whether it's investing time, whether it's investing money, or investing sleep? Like, what would you say that is the perfect time? This is the perfect time to do what?
I would first say take an inventory of where you're weak. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Like, do a whole SWOT analysis. What are your opportunities? What are your threats? Because that's going to show you where you need help. That's going to show you your leaks. Like, for me, it's time.
Okay.
So I needed someone to, help balance, help manage some of this workload, particularly administrative work and the things that, I could do it myself, but I can save time just having somebody else do it. So that's what motivated me to hire out and to make that investment. So I would say first look at where your needs are, and then that should guide you on where you need to invest, whether you want to take a course, whether you're going to invest in a coach in a particular area. I think if you're going to write a book or you're going to do something like that, now's the perfect time for it. If things shut down for you, what can you do so that when things open up, you'll have something ready to go, whether it's a book, a course, or some kind of program. I think there's always something that we can do. Do you have to be one of those 20-hour-a-day hustle hard people? No. But I think that if you're looking at every single day, what am I doing to get closer to being ready to go when the economy is 100% open, then I think, that's all worthwhile. Don't, beat yourself up because it's not happening overnight. So use this time to start to plan and strategize on how you're going to be able to bring something forth when the world opens back up.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned just preparing, and you mentioning just moving quicker, like when the pandemic first started, the things that you feel like you would have done differently during when the pandemic first started. But 20 years ago, before you became an entrepreneur, is there anything that you would have changed? If so, what is it? What would you have changed? What would you have done differently? Whether it was to still become an entrepreneur, or would you have stayed working in the corporate world if you could just press rewind and start over?
I would not settle, because back then it was just get a job. Get a job. That was it. And, I was in a great job. I was paid well, but I wasn't always happy. But, it was one of those things where I wish I had took the time to find a mentor and use my income to finance, a side business or whatever, something that could have eventually made a main business. And I look back and you just want to choke yourself almost because you're like, man, I could have did this and could have did that. But if I could go back, I would have been just taking the leap. And if I did go work for someone, then have a plan going in that I'm going to finance my business. Right. It's not forever. I'm going to give myself XYZ amount of time to get this thing up and running.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I like to ask all of the ladies this this question, this power question, no matter what type of entrepreneur or what type of business they have, small, large, millionaire, incoming, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like this question because I like to read. I'm lying. Cut the camera. I do not like to read. I have started to like to read. When I was little, I loved reading. When I was in my early 20s, when I was in college, I wanted the Cliff Notes. I didn't want to read the full book and all this other type of stuff. But now, coming into who Orion is and being an entrepreneur, I enjoy reading because I like tips. I like advice. I love encouragement, empowerment. I love all of those things now. So I have definitely grown to love to read. And so I like to ask this question to my ladies, especially my entrepreneurs. What's one book that you have read that has helped you with your business? What's one book that you would like to maybe suggest to the entrepreneurs to read and get some tips and suggestions on your business?
Sure. So I have several books that I like. One I'm reading right now is Don't Quit Your Day Job. I'm sorry, Don't Keep Your Day Job. I always say it wrong, but it's Don't Keep Your Day Job. And it's a really good book, especially for those of you who are like thinking about it. You're still working, or those of you who are very early, but for me, it's a great refresher because you get so much information in the beginning and you forget. And so it's really good to hear about how different business owners were able to make those pivots and how you can kind of glean off of their creativity. So that's a really good book. She shares a lot of different stories about not only her life, but also other business owners. And then Getting Things Done is a great one because it's all about productivity and we need that. And Profit First. It's all about paying yourself first as a business owner. And I like that book.
Oh, girl, you're going to have to sit, especially that
Yes.
last one. So I definitely look forward to getting those titles. I'm going to make sure you send me those so I can put them in our description of our video so our ladies, our viewers can definitely look into those books. We are wrapping up. We have pretty much finished our conversation, our one-on-one with Orion. But before we leave, I want you to tell our viewers where they can find you, whether social media, whether it's a physical site, where they can find you, what it is they need to know about you, what you have going on when the world opens back up. Like you might be working on something. I'm sure during this time you probably thought of some new things. What's new with Charique, where to find Charique, and what you're looking forward to after the pandemic. I would love for you to share that.
Sure. So you can find me. I'm on Facebook. My Facebook page is my business, Digital Innovation Media Group. And Twitter and Instagram is Digital Marketing Works because it does. And LinkedIn, I say I'm the only Charique L Richardson MBA on LinkedIn. So I doubt you'll find another one on there. So that's where you can find me on social media. My website is Digital Innovation, M as in Mary, G as in go.com. So you can find me there. And one thing I'm working on is a podcast. So you may see my little microphone here. So I'm going to be coming out with a podcast. I'm really excited about that. And so just stay tuned to hear more updates on that. Yes. So those are the perfect places to find me and to get information on when that's going to launch.
Okay, guys. So you heard it here first. She's working on a podcast. We're looking forward to hearing about the podcast. Make sure you follow her so you can be one of the first people to hear about the podcast so we can tune in and enjoy it. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful. So let me ask you, is it a podcast for entrepreneurs or is it like a personal testimony piece? What's your your goal, or your mission for your podcast? If you don't mind sharing.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's all about digital marketing. It's all about not only my experiences in business, but also about answering questions, helping people who are, obviously business owners who are either looking to transition online and have no idea where to start, where to begin. And for those who are online and you just can use some extra information about what tools to use, how they can save time, how they can streamline their processes and get better results. Okay. So, yeah. And it's a good way to learn more about, about me and about, how I can help.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Make sure you text me, email, or something, tag me. I am looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Charique. We enjoyed you. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
And that is it, guys, with Charique Richardson of Digital Innovation Marketing. Correct?
Media group.
Media group.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is it for us, guys. I thank you for being a guest, and I thank you guys for viewing and tuning in. If you are interested in being a guest on One-on-One with Orion, please feel free to go to One-on-One with Orion on Instagram, or you can follow us at www.opulentproductions.net. All of our information is there. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we're there. And everything is, for the most part, is under Opulent Productions. We also have Women Means Business and One-on-One with Orion. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I look forward to working with you again, Charique. I cannot wait for the world to open back up so I can meet you.
Yes.
Thank you. Tune in, and you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you.